We were probably the only manufacturer who was actually paying most vendors in 15 days, whereas most other industries, vendors didn't get paid for two months, 3 months.
If you look at the textile and the garment industry, even the companies within the group, they would treat each other as an arm's length vendor, and they inspect, you inspect, and then things go back, and so much of value loss.
So much cost of inspection. Who's paying it? The nation. This is what makes us non-competitive, because we don't do what we are supposed to do correctly. We said we will pass on all that we know to you. The more Maruti grew, the more their businesses grew. It was in their self-interest to actually work to improve quality and to improve their costs. The issue which you're raising is, should the manufacturer of the finished product support his vendors in terms of improving their quality and productivity or not?
There is a strong viewpoint about suppliers that many companies have, that I should have what is known as a arm's length distance. And the meaning of that is, for the next purchase order, you should not be sure, you should compete. Now what you're talking about is a very different relationship, which is like making it almost like part of your organization, very different from the arm's length thing. And why is it required in the larger scheme of things? Like, why is it required for the bigger goal of India becoming a manufacturing powerhouse?
See, remember when we started Maruti, there was actually no component industry in India. There was, but it was an obsolete kind of industry, technology, manufacturing processes, quality. None of that was acceptable. It is a very different situation from countries where over 30, 40 years, very large suppliers have come up who have their own capacity for developing technology and management skills and all of that which goes with it. So the practices which are followed in countries which have a mature industry could not possibly be applied to India when we had to actually develop an industry. That's the first big difference. And it applies in a whole lot of areas, that you can't just copy what somebody else is doing. You have to see what your own situation is. Now, at that time, our suppliers were very small. They did not have the capacity even to engage consultants who would help them with ISO certifications or better processes or anything like that. That had to be kept in mind. More importantly, if a vendor was going to invest money in creating a capacity and a technology for me, and if he felt that after, let's say, 3 years of a contract, I would put it out for bidding again, or somebody else came and says, I'll give you 5 rupees less cost, I'll dump him. Will he have the motivation to invest? Will others have a motivation to invest in increasing capacity, improving technology? Clearly not.
Absolutely not, yeah.
If I am, these vendors were not people with large risk-taking appetites. They were people who were borrowing money to start a new industry. They needed some assurance that they would be looked after. We also realized, and it's not much of a realization, it's obvious, that the quality and the price of a vendor's components would essentially determine the quality and price of the car. Because 70% or more of the car's value was bought out.
Yeah.
So if that 70 odd percent was not of good quality, the car would never be of good quality. You would remember those days that one of the two cars which was available, people used to take the car and then first thing was send
Go to
the workshop and get a whole lot of
yeah,
components
yeah.
changed.
You got to be friends with the mechanic.
You have to be friends with the mechanic.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure that we helped the supplier to get the right kind of technology, the right kind of partners, the right kind of processes, and kept getting the latest inputs. Where would he get those inputs from? Only from Maruti. Because we were learning from Suzuki. We had a source of technology and better practices in manufacturing and quality and all of that. We said we will pass on all that we know to you.
And you create that cell to keep on
And
advising,
you
consulting.
keep improving your products and giving it to us.
Yeah.
It's an interdependent situation, really. Vendors also saw that the more Maruti grew, the more their businesses grew.
Yeah. I think
And therefore, it, in a sense, same question I said of self-interest.
yes.
It was in their self-interest to actually work to improve quality and to improve their costs.
Yeah. So in fact, the basics like you're helping them improve productivity, and as they're improving productivity, you can share the gains. The two parties can share the game, and also taking care of the risks because these small players would need payments on time, and
You
things.
know our payment system.
Yeah.
We were the only, actually, probably the only manufacturer who was actually paying most vendors in 15 days. Normal 30 days was the contract.
Yeah.
So nobody went beyond 30 days in Maruti. Many got them in 15 days.
Yeah.
Whereas most other industries,
Yeah.
vendors didn't get paid for two months, 3 months.
It still happens because people believe that if you have a working capital issue, the best bank is the vendors themselves, and I think that's where the trust breaks, and then you start saying that let me get another order, then your next delivery is not on time because my capacity is booked by somebody else. So, and then things like that, what you highlighted is that the cost of doing business, because anyway, what many companies are bothered about is the cost for which I write a check has to be lower. But what you are highlighting is the indirect benefits. Like, for example, if your suppliers are kind of transparent, dedicated to you, doing things in a win-win manner, you'd get less erroneous parts reaching at your level. Your inventories can be very well managed. The inspections are very less.
That's what's happened with our vendors.
That's
because
what.
we kept working
Yeah.
with the vendors so that ultimately, they could be self-certified. In the beginning, all vendor supplies had to be inspected and counted. Now, we told the vendors, look, why should I incur an extra cost of inspecting what you send to me and of counting what you send to me? That's your job. So put in the systems where you send me the right material with the right numbers
Yeah.
so that I can put it straight away onto the line. I shouldn't have to look at any kind of inspection.
And I know of industries like if you look at the textile and the garment industry, even the companies within the group, they would treat each other as a arm's length vendor,
So inspect.
and they inspect, you inspect, and then things go back, and so much of value loss,
So much cost of inspection.
cost of inspection, and
I was working in BHL before I came to Maruti. And we had a proper quality inspection department, full-fledged. NTPC got a contract when NTPC started, they got the first one. They gave contracts to BHEL. They put their own guys in the BHEL factory for stage-wise inspection of material. No, it's all extra cost. Who's paying it? The nation. So when we say India is not competitive, this is what makes us non-competitive. Because we don't do what we are supposed to do correctly.
Yeah, I think connecting to that theme of India becoming a manufacturing powerhouse. So when you have, let's say, a big manufacturer, and let's say who has a partner, suppliers who are small, and when you're taking care of them, that industry itself starts flourishing. And I think what Maruti did, being such a large player, it actually helped create the auto component industry, right, in a way.
See what size of component industry we have today.
Yeah, close to, I think,
All
70 billion.
the foreign car companies came to India in the beginning of this century.
Yeah.
Because there was a component industry in India.
Yeah. And I see same thing is not fired up, let's say, if I look at the other industries. So India is very good in textiles, quite a big industry, but it has not fired in garmenting. Now, textile is the big brother here. In the garmenting is the recipient, is the small brother. Even within the same group companies, they would not have this kind of a win-win arrangement. The philosophy is, hey guys, if the garmenter has a choice, he should go to another fabric player. And the fabric guy says, if I have a choice, I will supply to some other garment player. Interestingly,
look for where can I get a better price?
Yeah, interestingly, a lot of textile companies would be supplying to competition.
It's very short term.
Yeah, and competing and making the same garment factory, compete with the other one. And if you see, the garment industry has not fired up in a big way in the country, and that's also a big employer. And I see one of the reasons is, okay, we can keep saying labor reforms and all, but the big giants, right, when they have opened this garment factory, why can't they fire up? Why can't they treat that as your own arm? And then you can see that things firing up there also.
The issue which you're raising is, should the manufacturer of the finished product support his vendors in terms of improving their quality and productivity or not? Should you support your supply chain? Should you help in developing your supply chain? Obviously, if you are a small manufacturer, you can't do it. But if you are a big manufacturer, you certainly can look after and develop your own supply chain.
Yeah.
Who will be 30-40% dependent on his business on you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's good for him, it's good for you.
Yeah. I think, that's a very interesting way of creating a supply chain itself which competes with the other supply chain rather than trying to...
Most of our manufacturers, you take some of our manufacturers of white goods, brown goods, I wonder how many of them have developed their own supply chains and how many of them work with the suppliers to keep improving. I know some have.
Very few, and mostly because they're looking for the cheapest source, so buy from China.
The cheapest thing is the problem.
Yeah.
Of course, you should look for cheapest.
Yeah, but there are other ways to make it cheaper.
By helping improve the systems.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are these big giants who would say, let's buy from China, just put our brand name and sell. Then you can't develop the sector. And what you're highlighting is, hey guys, there is a lot of economic sense. Don't just look at reducing the numbers on what you're signing the check. Build up the system, and it'll give you many times more indirect benefits.
Think a little bit more long term.
Yeah.
Not just week to week.
Yeah.